Hey guys, welcome to Talking Through the Medias. I am your host, Amy Newman. Today I'm going to be reviewing 365 Days, which was recently released on Netflix. So great news to all of our fans of Polish kidnap erotica out there. Before we get things started, you know the drill. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. If you got something to say about 365 Days, make sure you comment below. We will be discussing your comments every week on We Got Your Mail. Now, before I get going with this review, I did want to just make sure I was looking out for you guys. Quick content warning. If, for any reason, conversations about sort of dubious consent, let's say, in sexual relationships, if anything of that nature is triggering or uncomfortable for you, I'm going to try to keep my review as ungraphic as possible, but this might not be the video for you. And if that is not within your comfort zone, then I definitely don't recommend this movie, but we'll be getting to that in a minute. All right, so 365 Days. I had not heard of this prior to it popping up on Netflix. It is a Polish film based on a Polish trilogy of novels by Blanka Lipinska. So in a lot of ways, this really feels like Poland's 50 Shades of Grey. The film is in Polish, Italian, and English, which I guess is great because we wanted Americans to get better about reading subtitles, but maybe not like this. This movie was #2 trending on US Netflix, at least according to my Netflix page when I viewed the film, which is surprising, again, for a product, a franchise I'd never heard of. I'd never heard of these books. They've never been translated to English, which just makes me wonder, like, I just have to think quarantine's been hard. Like, are y'all okay? Like, y'all don't want to be 6 feet apart anymore. I get it. I get it. So this film, to sort of break it down, we got a young businesswoman named Laura, played by Anna Maria Siekluka. If someone wants to correct me, that's cool. And she has, you know, on top of her game in the business world, total, you know, wet dish rag of a lame boyfriend, and she ends up getting kidnapped by Massimo, played by Michelle Morone, who is a Sicilian mobster, a Sicilian gangster. And, oh boy, even saying this feels insane. She was there when something tragic happened in his life, and he swore that he would have her as his own someday. So basically, he kidnaps this woman, brings her to Sicily, and decides that she is going to live with him for 365 days. And she will hopefully fall in love with him over the course of that 365 days, and if not, she's free to go. It's sort of like Beauty and the Beast, but icky. So I will say this about the movie. A, the two leads, very passable performances. Nothing Oscar-worthy, but they are fine. They have solid chemistry together, and they are both that type of pretty where you look at them and go, God spent an extra second on you, huh? So no complaints on that front. Definitely some eye candy. And the cinematography is gorgeous. Like, kind of sexy perfume ad. You know when you see a perfume ad and you're like, okay. It's one of those. And that is where my list of positive accolades for this movie ends. There is a lot in this movie that made me very deeply uncomfortable. We set the bar nice and early in the first lines of dialogue where they're discussing sex trafficking children, which is an important topic. Obviously an awful thing that does happen. I don't understand why you're bringing this up in the first minutes of a movie that is intended, I'm pretty sure, to be sexy. Just a really hard line to come in on. And from there, it was just like, I kind of can't with this. And so you hear that, premise of the film, and I understand for some women, and obviously for the woman who wrote it, this is some kind of fantasy. But to me, it just kept feeling like a horror movie. Like the moment when she's kidnapped and she's going to the bathroom at a restaurant on her birthday and she realizes this man's behind him feels like one of my worst nightmares. And based on what I feel like a lot of women I've heard, I know have heard saying, that's a pretty common, female worst case scenario, and anybody worst case scenario, but really tapping into sort of these scary concepts and these things that you do live in fear of as a woman. So a lot of it did just read as almost a horror film, and then it would kind of turn and try to make it sexy again, which just did not work for me. Any praises I could sing of this movie, I feel like just kept getting undercut by the concept just being something I could not get around. The movie sort of does this weird dance of part of with the idea, I think, of bringing in the child trafficking subplot is they sort of keep trying to establish Massimo as not a total predator. When a man tries to more forwardly take advantage of Laura in a club, he shuts that guy down. He attacks him. But it doesn't make the lack of consent okay. And I think that's where this movie really misses the mark for me. Of you've kidnapped a woman and you're pushing her past the boundaries of, enthusiastic consent, that even when she does, spoiler alert, start to fall in love with him, it's lost me completely. That's such an awful, unhealthy grounds for a relationship. So as much as these two leads were very attractive and had good chemistry, and all the sex scenes were hot, they were very graphic. It was basically softcore porn, which I'm not complaining about, but I couldn't move past where we started from. I kept being like, well, I want to like this, but I can't. It's making me too uncomfortable, and it makes me uncomfortable that someone might see this. And it's still, it's easy to be like, it's a fantasy, it's this, it's that, but someone might see this and think it's okay. And that just kept leaving me feeling like, I don't know how to feel. Because this is a visually impressive film. It's sexy. There's like 3 shopping montages. As a woman, it really felt, they have sex on a big boat. It's all but it was icky. There's also a very, I won't spoil it, I guess, if you do want to see it. There's a real downer ending that just left me going, didn't I come to, enjoy this film? And I'm not enjoying this. It was very sad. So in short, I guess if you love 50 Shades of Grey, or this really feels like your cup of tea, or you're really getting lonely, doing your little social isolation thing, go for it. But at the end of the day, I ended up feeling a little weird that I gave Netflix my view for this, because I personally cannot support idealizing blurring those lines of consent and healthy relationships and what is appropriate. So that's what I thought of 365 Days. Maybe someone else got something totally different about it. So let me know what you guys thought. If you liked it, if you loved it, go ahead and leave a comment below. Like I said, we'll discuss those every week on We Got Your Mail. But as for me, that is my review of 365 Days, a fantasy to someone, I guess. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Oh, my ick faces. Or maybe like a... I think that's all I got. Oh, that was a bad one. Only use that one if you really hate me.